You've long set your heart against it, Axel, I know. But it's time now to think on it anew. There's a journey we must go on, and no more delay. Hello and welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host Liam, aka Himvar, and today I'll be doing a spoiler-free review of Kazuo Ishiguro's The Buried Giant. I'm not sure this is going to be the most eloquent review ever, but this is about the 2015 Arthurian-ish related fantasy novel by Kazuo Ishiguro. I've never read anything else by him. It is told, it's a post-Arthurian story, right? The narrator, seemingly from our time, and very much present as a character compared to most modern fantasy. It also seems to be intradiegetic. Take that as you will. The narrator, I think more so in the beginning, kind of pops up as like giving his opinions or his thoughts or whatever, right? But not so much important to the plot. The story starts about ogres, but it really follows an elderly couple named Axel and Beatrice. They seem slightly amnesiac and live on the edge of a village. Axel contemplates the past and recalls a woman that is no longer present, and no one remembers her besides him. He also feels like he had a child, but there are no outward signs of this. It seems everyone is in a mist of memory. There are hints of a higher status for the couple that are not part of their reality, such as a dislike over their housing situation and Axel calling Beatrice princess. The adventure itself kicks off in chapter 1 as the couple go to find their son. They remind me some of Frodo in their leisure, and that quote I actually opened with reminds me some of like Frodo going on his adventure as well, actually. But it's also rather just spiritual and symbolic, as violence is at a lower level in some parts. There's definitely violence, though. That's actually a key part of the themes of the story. These are elderly Britons, right? We follow after all. It's a dreamlike tale of mythopoeia, and like I said, there's still some violence. But it's a world of Saxons and Britons. They're both similar and different, and some of this is by choice, and other large ones by language, and language shift, stuff like that. Material culture is kind of up in the air, and they live largely in harmony at this point. The reflection of old age on the past, and particularly the Arthurian one, seems to question individual stories, but also the largely false, or at least ahistorical tales of Arthur. This focuses on trauma and on guilt as related to that trauma. And why do these people forget is very important, obviously, and you'll probably be asking that within the first couple pages. Alex Preston in The Guardian said it was about the duty to remember and the urge to forget. It's nice that this is explored via fantasy. I don't think it is some literary work making fun of or hiding from the label of fantasy, as Le Guin apparently thought it was. The plot is mysterious and then intense. It's also very short and easy to get into and through. The character work is quite well done. We see the struggles of humanity as opposed to good versus evil, but they also kind of reminded me of the characters in, say, Stoner, which is to say they're unsatisfying in a very modern way. There's something lacking about them, I feel like. The themes themselves are poignant and rather beautifully executed, but it is quite an ending. I think it's kind of about love, but only in like one layer. And as far as Arthuriana goes, this is a Gawain tale. I think that's safe to share. There's a different treatment and result in Sir Gawain and the Green Knights. It doesn't really follow the timeline of, Gawain obviously being in post-Arthurian Britain doesn't really make sense, right? But it also connects well to Saxon stuff, which often just gets slaughtered in Arthuriana. And that's kind of one of the big themes here, actually. There are other characters like Edwin and Wiston and Querg, this later being a she-dragon. And there's Lord Brennus, a name from history, but not a history in Britain, but now rules the Britons at this point. Overall, I enjoyed my time and was slightly bored at times compared to various other recent Arthuriana I read around the same time, which would be like Spear by Nicola Griffith, By Force Alone by Tidar, Kinetic Yankee in King Arthur's Court. I enjoyed those more, right? In many ways, there's no moral. It's very vague at times, and it's even detached, right? There's definitely themes, right? But there's no moral in the fact that, that's not true. It seems like there's a little moral in the fact that you should remember past wrongs, right? Whether that's your people's wrongs, your country's, or your own, that's something. But we also don't live in magical myths that make us forget. But my interpretation above seems apt, but I feel like there's probably a Christian interpretation too, as, this is a medieval thing during Christian times, obviously, right? and particularly where forgiveness is concerned. I think that's something that is largely would have made this story feel more powerful and stick more, I think. It's about forgetfulness, but it's not about forgiveness. And I know we lump those together often, but there really is a lot of power in forgiveness, and it's not on display here, right? Yes, it really isn't, and I think that makes the work not land nearly as hard as it could. Forgiveness is not just a Christian concept, it's a human concept. So I don't know if maybe that's the point Ishiguro is trying to make by having it absent. I don't know. I feel like he just kind of missed the mark. That's the feeling I get. But I'm no scholar, but who the heck is, really? So anyways, Liam from Liam's Last Team. I'll catch you next time.